I'm Peggy Kelly, and this is Good Morning Santa Paula, and Act presents, I'll actually have him say, but exactly what area, but of course Camarillo in the Santa Clara River Valley, and Stan is also presently the Ventura County Superintendent of Schools. Is that the way it's described?
That's correct.
Okay, and I want Stan to tell us a little about himself. And Stan, nice seeing you.
And you too, Peggy. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I really appreciate the opportunity. And also thanks to KADY for facilitating the technical end of things, and Mr. Bob Allen.
Absolutely. Couldn't do it without Bob. So why don't you tell us?
Connection with the County Office of Education. As you mentioned, I'm the elected county superintendent of schools. I have held that office since 2008. And my current term ends at the end of 2022. Mm-hmm. I am a lifelong educator. I hate to admit I'm going on my 45th year, but probably my hair color will tell you something about that. I'm also a product of the community college system. I graduated from Los Angeles Pierce College. I won't tell you the year because it's probably before a number of your viewers were born. But I'm very passionate about the entire continuum of education, from early childhood education, when the brain is developing, all the way through college and career, and making good citizens so we build a great future. Mm-hmm. And for me, we have so many rich offerings today.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you, just as an aside, so you're a Valley boy?
Yes, ma'am. I originally grew up in Los Angeles near the Coliseum, and the family moved to Woodland Hills in the 1960s.
Oh, okay. I'm a Valley girl. So there you go.
Good.
You know, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. But anyway, and it was a wonderful place then, you know. But in Pierce College it's a wonderful campus, and it's always had a lot of respect. Now, so in other words, now by you running though, you would be representing, if elected, you would be representing from kindergarten through associate arts degrees and beyond, let's say. Is that?
Yes, assuming that I'm continuing in my role as the K-12 cheerleader for the county as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Now, what do you see? What prompted you to run?
Over the course of 4 decades, I think I've built up a lot of experience, a lot of perspective, and connections, relationships with other people. Mm-hmm. We've been working a lot with the community colleges, particularly over the past decade, in terms of career education grants and things like that. And I'm just drawn to the next step in the raw material that we develop in making sure that as a feeder system for the community colleges, we align that experience that we've given our kids so that they can leverage theirs even better when they move to the next level.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any one, and of course I'm going to ask you specifically about the Santa Clara River Valley needs and things, but before then, do you see several things that you think the system that the district needs overall, that needs improving overall, or needs supplementing overall?
Yeah, although I think it's particularly appropriate to the Santa Clara Valley, we need to do a better job with underserved populations in underserved areas.
Sure.
I also see, well after the pandemic is behind us, that we're going to have some hard times financially. A lot of that's going to be fallout from this. And it takes somebody with a strong fiscal background to steward those resources. And the other thing is just the experience that a young person has coming out of high school, moving into the college system itself. Just the registration process has been described to me by some of the folks at the colleges as being extremely cumbersome. If we live in a world today where you can open a bank account in 5 minutes, we should be able to register our kids for school in just a few minutes rather than taking up an hour or more than that just to get, through all the screens online.
Yeah, I can only agree, because that would be very discouraging for people. And might even push people away because they think if it's this hard to even register, maybe I'm not up to completing studies.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know. That's a very good point, though.
Yeah. The other part of it, Peggy, is the transfer rate. And, I think that's very, very underwhelming. If we only have about 40% of the kids moving on to a four-year university, assuming that is their goal, we need to devote more resources to that as well. The concept is there. I think the recognition is there, but the action needs to be more robust.
Interesting. So you're saying that the district could do more as far as making sure or helping students transition to a university, or is it a lack of credits? Is it a lack of offerings for classes? I know the district is very rich in classes. Why do you think that is?
Well, it could be to a certain degree, yes, to all of those things, but I think that they could devote more resources to counseling, to actual human beings that are providing guidance and assistance to our students along the way. For example, Oxnard College has a Promise Initiative, which is a fantastic program for pretty much guaranteed admission to the CSU system. And yet, I found recently at a planning session with Oxnard College folks that there's only one individual that is the transfer counselor for over 7,000 students. That's a caseload that just doesn't work. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's not good at all. Yeah, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry to hear that. That's self-defeating. Now, how about vocational? Do you feel that the district has a robust enough vocational training? I know that there's many good jobs out there, careers actually, not jobs, or careers, and you can't outsource them. And there's got to be more training to get people involved in these types of things. Does the district work with unions or offer a lot of vocational training, or do you think enough? Or
well, no, I don't think it's enough. But I think they're doing it. They've done a pretty good job so far with some of the apprenticeship programs that they have, as well as the academies, like culinary arts and dental programs at Oxnard College.
Right.
I think they've recently implemented a couple of other AA degree programs for the East Campus, actually. But so much more could be done. And there's so much that's untapped. And that's where, I think my experience with K-12 and working with the colleges on the previous round of grants that we got that got all this started. But the real trick is the sustainability of those programs.
Yes.
Being able to do that, because I'm really glad you brought it up, because not everyone wants to go to a four-year university. People get really excited sometimes about certificate programs and highly technical fields where we need to fill right now.
Absolutely.
So there's more to be done, and I think in doing so and digging deeper into those areas and building better partnerships with businesses, Haas Automation comes to mind. Limonera in terms of agricultural science comes to mind, that we can do a lot of good, and we can attract more kids, particularly in the underserved domains.
Absolutely. Well, I remember when the East Campus was over on Dean Drive, and they had a CAD class over there, and I think it was an automotive CAD class, and I did a story on it, and it was very, very, very successful. And then it went away. So, I don't know how they make, and this was years ago. So I don't know how they make those decisions, but it was too bad, because it was just jammed with people that wanted careers. They didn't particularly want to sit in a classroom a lot, but they wanted that hand-on experience. And of course, the technical end, they have to study for that and things like that. So I was so impressed at the enthusiasm of people that, and it is very true. I remember there was a lot of excitement about that type of training. And of course, when all of us were in high school, that was a given. They already started in high school with vocational classes and to kind of, I guess, pre-train people that might want to go into the vocational arts, as I like to call them. So speaking of the Santa Clara River Valley, I know that I'm sure you've heard quite a bit about that since you've been out here, as far as, it's been an ongoing issue for about, I don't know, 8 years, 10 years, even longer. What are you hearing are the needs? What do you see as maybe a solution or a compromise to bring more education to the Santa Clara River Valley?
Yeah, well, I was around when Measure S was passed. That was the, I think, $354 million bond for the entire college district. And I'm one of those taxpayers that continues to pay down that bond obligation. And at the time, there were some assurances made to expend somewhere in the neighborhood of $24–25 million for a presence in the Santa Clara Valley. And it may have been referred to as a campus. I don't think you can build a full-blown elementary school anymore for $25 million, but certainly for some amount like that, maybe more, as a commitment to the Santa Clara Valley would pay huge dividends. I visited the facility that's there currently in a storefront, and I'm really not very impressed. So much more can be done. And I've had some conversations with the superintendent of the Santa Paula Unified School District and Harold Edwards at Limoneira, because they've been working on a land deal which provides for a new elementary school. And it turns out that the school district will probably not need the property that was set aside as a high school.
Yes.
That looks like ready-made opportunity for dual enrollment, concurrent enrollment, and a new East County presence for the community college district with a real brick and mortar facility, something that's multifaceted, but it can also be a very strong virtual hub, because as we've had to make that pivot to distance learning, we are getting a lot better at it. And it's going to be part of education. And sometimes it's a great complement to a student's education, particularly in community colleges where they're working and their time is precious and they can't always be in a certain place at a certain time. So they can do real-time and anytime learning. And I think that's a very doable thing within the, when I say the near future, the next few years, to be able to realize that dream and build upon it.
Well, I certainly hope so. I know you're talking about that the property that's in East Area 1, and I know, now known as Harvest at Limoneira, and I know that we're already talking about maybe a campus for education. So are you talking about something that might be a partnership between the Ventura County Community College District and perhaps UCSB and Cal Lutheran and anybody else, or are you talking about something that would be exclusive to the college district?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of exclusivity. I like to go in the other direction. So I would say
it's a lot more cost effective.
Yeah, and I think the potential is there for all of that.
Right.
I also, having said that, I also believe in crawling before you walk. And so this might get its beginnings, in its infancy, with 3 or 4 agencies as opposed to a dozen or so.
Great. Well, I certainly look forward to hearing more about that. And the high school district, of course, enrollment is down. Enrollment's down at all the high schools or school districts, period. I guess I don't know if it's a combination of people having less children, people using private schools, homeschooling, whatever. Do you see that trend continuing or getting more of an impact? How does that impact community college district, do you believe?
Well, in the very long term, the entire birth rate of the United States of America is dropping.
Yes.
And there are what we call bubbles that go through the system. And we're kind of at a low point at those grade levels right now, and we're experiencing a lot of declining enrollment, as we call it. That's not the only reason our birth rates. We've had some fires. We have an economy that sometimes causes people to move elsewhere so that they can afford a home. There's a number of moving parts in all of that. But I think we have enough raw material here to just get to, if we can just capture what we have and bring our students to an understanding of what the community colleges will offer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to start. And once you're in community college, you can go in various directions, as we talked about, whether it's career, whether it's moving on to the university, whether it's going into the workforce through an apprenticeship program. The military or the pilots have a expression they call ceiling unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
That just means you can see forever if we want to. If we want to do it, we can do it. And I'll never forget that quote from Nelson Mandela that says, "It always looks impossible until it's done."
Yes, that's wonderful. Yes. And I know too that nowadays we have more people that the college district had already been offering distance learning for certain courses before the COVID-19. So they were already on board with that and actually looking to expand that. So I think that's something that's going to be continued to, for safety reasons, whatever reasons, but I see distance learning becoming permanent now in the school systems. How do you feel about that?
Why should it not be an alternative?
Mm-hmm.
Many universities are operating like that in various parts of the country. Mm-hmm. And I think that having that's one of the silver linings of the pandemic, if you will.
Yes. Is
to get more serious about it by necessity, which then becomes the mother of invention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry for that frightness.
How many students are enrolled in the college district approximately? It's
somewhere over 30,000. Mm-hmm. It's a moving target.
Of course. And in the county, in what your position is now, how many students are there in the Ventura County?
In K-12, we have about 130,000.
Wow, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they're real significant numbers, and what a pool to be able to wade into.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Well, Stan, thank you very much. Is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't, or is there anything you'd like to add, or anything at all? It's up to you. It's your time.
Only that I'm really excited about the prospect of serving on the college district board, and serving not just a particular area, although the area is kind of, besides Santa Clara Valley and Camarillo, it has parts of South Oxnard and Hueneme. It looks pretty funny on a map, actually, but also recognizing that it's an entire district. And that if you get all the parts working together and you leverage it, everybody's going to benefit from that. I also think that over the years, I've built up some great connections in terms of Sacramento, not to mention local government, and relationships with people, and learning how to make these things, to have these initiatives come through to fruition. I'm really looking forward to doing that. And I, first of all, would tell everybody out there, make sure you vote. And only after that, vote for me.
Well, that's very generous of you, and then and it is. Everybody has to make sure they vote. Well, Stan, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, and Bob and I both appreciate you making the time. I know it's campaign season, and it's not the way you used to would normally do it, let's say, but still, it's a lot of time involved if you do it right, So anyway, thank you very much. And once again, I'm Peggy Kelly. I've been here right now with Stan Mantooth, who is one of the candidates for Ventura County Community College District, Area 3. And if you would like to watch this again, because why not watch it again and again, you can go to kadytv.net and go to YouTube and be sure to subscribe. Or this will be running on also Spectrum Cable, Channel 10. So Santa Paula viewers can see it also. And once again, Stan, thank you very much. Good luck on November 3rd, okay? And thank you.
And it's been my pleasure. Take good care and stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye.